What if I told you that building stronger finances than most people is simpler than you think? You don't need a six-figure salary, you don't need to be glued to spreadsheets every day, and you certainly don't need to live on rice and dal for the next 10 years. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that so you can get ahead of 99% of people in just 3 months. For those of you who are new to this channel, I'm Ibrahim, and since 2016 I've helped thousands of Muslims sort out their personal finances and their investing. I run an investment firm called Curate Capital, and I've written a best-selling book, and I hold qualifications in Islamic law, investment management and corporate law. Most people think they're fine with money until you ask one question: how much do you spend in total each month? And then silence. This is a huge problem. If you don't know key numbers like your monthly spend, how much money you owe, and exactly how much money is coming in, then you're just flying blind. It's like driving but without a map in front of you. Your financial decisions are like Stoke City booting the ball up the pitch and hoping it gets to the striker. It usually doesn't. So let's change that. Here are 5 key numbers you need to know. Number 1, your burn rate. This is simply how much you spend on average each month. Here's how to find it. You log into all of your bank accounts, you look at the last 3 bank statements, add up everything you spent each month, and then divide it by 3. That's your monthly burn rate. And if you're shocked by that number, that's pretty normal. Most people underestimate how much they're spending. But once you know it, you can actually then plan. Number 2, your debt. Islamically, debt is something we should be keen to pay off quickly. Yet many of us don't even know the total figure we owe. List every debt you have: student loans, car finance, credit cards, mortgages, even the informal family loans. List them all down. And next to each of them, write down the balance, the interest rate, if any, unfortunately if you've had to take out conventional loans, and the minimum monthly payment. Now use a debt payoff calculator, and you can find them online, and check if you only pay the minimums, how long until you're debt free. So for example, if you've got a credit card debt at 27% interest and you only pay the minimum, you'll probably still be paying it off decades from now. But here's the good news. When you see the full picture in black and white, you can actually take control. Even adding just £50 or £100 extra each month towards high interest debt can shave off years of your payoff period. And this is something that most people aren't thinking about because it's decades in the future, but it will make things much better for you overall. Ignoring debt only makes the hole deeper. Facing it is the first step of climbing out of that debt. So in my personal case, the main debt that I have is an Islamic mortgage, and that is going to extend 30 years plus. So one of the things that I am actively conscious of is that I want to make big, bulky payments to reduce down that mortgage over the next decade or so, because I know that as soon as I do that, the mortgage, instead of extending out to 35 years, will suddenly be brought down to as little as 5 to 10 years, and we might even clear it entirely. And that is where we make a major saving, because every year you are giving a profit to the bank if you continue on that mortgage. Number 3, your savings. Here's the surprising truth. Most people don't actually know how much they're saving each month. Ask someone and you'll often hear, I tried to save, but last month was really hectic, or I'll start properly once things settle down. That's not a strategy. That's wishful thinking. And the thing is, everyone says that. It's never a perfect time. Saving isn't about being good or bad with money. It's about building consistency. Think about Salah. 5 times a day we pray. It's not something you leave to chance or fit in only if you feel like it or if it's not been a busy day. It's built into your day. It runs on routine. It's like when you brush your teeth twice a day, you just do it. That's how your savings should work. Automatic, structured, non-negotiable, just fitted into your financial calendar. Start small, even £50 a month, into a separate account or an Islamic savings account. The amount isn't the point at first. It's building that habit and proving to yourself that you can actually do it. And over time, you build that up to 10 to 20% of your income. And if it's automated, you won't even notice that money leaving. Why does this matter? Because life happens, redundancies, illness, family emergencies. Without savings, people are pushed into bad choices, taking on debt, delaying urgent needs, or falling into financial stress. Savings give you that breathing room and then allow you to have the space to actually invest your money, which brings us to number 4. Number 4, your investments. Your money shouldn't just sit in a current or savings account where every year it's being attacked by inflation and you're incurring zakat on it as well, by the way, 2.5%. So if you're getting 2.5% from the bank and then you're paying 2.5%, you're basically breaking even, and even not breaking even because then you take out inflation on top of that. So you're actually making a loss. So your money should be working for you, right? And it's not. And in our community, that means halal investments. That's where you can invest in sharia-compliant funds in the stock market, savings that you put into your pension, buying a property, or even investing in businesses. Now, you don't need to become obsessed with spreadsheets, although if you are, then more power to you. And chasing the latest stock or crypto hype, you don't need to do any of that. The wealthiest people invest consistently, automatically, and for the long term. Even £100 a month can compound into serious money over decades. And it's not about timing the market, it's about time in the market. And we've done a ton of videos about investing. And if you're a beginner, I highly recommend watching our complete breakdown on how to build a halal investment portfolio, and I'll link that video. That'll walk you through step by step what to choose and how to get started. Number 5, your housing costs. This is the big one that most people ignore. If your rent or Islamic mortgage is more than 28% of your income, you're in the red zone. That's why you're stressed. That's why saving feels impossible. It's not easy, especially today, and for many people, downsizing or moving isn't really realistic. But there are 2 levers that you can always pull. Look at your housing cost. Can you remortgage at a better rate or renegotiate rent? Most people, however, should focus on the income side. Can you upskill, negotiate a raise, or start a side hustle and bring in some extra income streams so that the housing becomes a smaller proportion of what you earn as a whole? Your house should be your base, not a burden. And if it's eating too much of your budget, you either need to reduce the cost or grow your income so it stops holding you back. Okay, folks. So we've done step 1, which is looking at the key numbers and stop ignoring them. Now we're moving on to step 2, which is automating like the top 5%. The wealthiest people don't leave money management to chance. They use systems such as setting up direct debits. Every important transfer happens automatically. Savings, investments, bills. That way, you're not stressed, you're not guilty, you're not manually moving money every week. Everything important is handled automatically. Then whatever's left, you can spend freely and you don't need to worry about that. The other benefit that you get with automation is that you can come up with a plan and then you can automate your steps and your journey to achieving that plan. You don't need to think about it. If you've said, I'm going to retire by 40, and you've set up a plan and then you've set up the automations that get you there, you literally don't need to think about it day to day. And by the age of 40, you will have done enough to retire. How liberating is that? And you can actually do it, but you just need to automate it. And folks, 75% of you who are watching this are unfortunately not subscribed. And you're all interested in making some more of this. And we are here to help you do that in a halal way. So be like the 25% who've actually automated their journey to making more of this, and subscribe today. Now back to the video. Okay, the final step. Step 3, calculating your crossover point. The crossover point is the moment your investments generate enough income to cover your living costs. So once you hit that, you're no longer dependent on your job. You can choose whether you work and what you work on. And here's how to calculate this step by step. The first step is working out your monthly expenses. This is your burn rate, the number you already calculated earlier. Let's say that's £2,000 a month or £24,000 a year. Next, you estimate the safe withdrawal rate. A common conservative number that people use is about 4%. You could use 5% if you wanted, but let's stick with 4. That means if you have £100,000 invested, you can reasonably expect £4,000 of income annually without ever running out of the original amount, because you're going to leave some of the profit in there for it to compound and keep ahead of inflation and grow. The next step is do the maths. To work out the total investments you need, take your burn rate that we worked out, which is £24,000 a year, and divide that by the withdrawal rate, which is 4%. That gives you £600,000. That's the amount you would need to have invested in halal assets to be financially independent. You would have £600,000, making you £24,000 of income that you can very easily withdraw from that investment and leave the remaining in to compound and grow. So you need to get to £600,000. Step 4, map your path. This is where most people stop, but the key is to play around with the levers that you can pull. If you earn more and invest more, you will reach the target quicker. If you spend less, you'll lower the amount that you need. And if you do both, the timeline actually shrinks dramatically. And that's the power of knowing the number. It turns financial independence from this vague, abstract dream into an actual concrete target that you can really achieve and work towards. Step 4, focus when you create a financial system like this, where your savings and your bills and your investments are running on autopilot. Something amazing can happen. You free up that space. You free up the space in your head, the space in your heart. And that's important because Islam isn't built on the idea of retirement. We've covered that in detail in another video, which I will link. It's about living purposefully now and maximizing this life for the next one. So the real beauty isn't retirement. The real beauty is that systematizing your finances takes that money stress off the table. It gives you the headspace to focus on what truly matters, your ibadah, your family, your community, your real mission in life. And yes, you can get ahead of 99% of people with these steps, but the real 1%, they're the ones who see money as a means to an end, the end being Allah's pleasure and Jannah. They take that final step, which is, and why am I doing all of this? That is because I want to get to Jannah and get closer to Allah, and they have a real crystal clear answer as to what they are doing with that money that is going to achieve that particular goal. That's it for today, folks. Please let me know in the comments below, what is your crossover number that is going to get you to retire? Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.